My Discworld journey continues. G'day to all you lovely people and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kathy and today I wanted to talk about Mort. This is, I think, the fourth book in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. Okay, before I get on to Mort, I wanted to briefly tell you how my Discworld journey is going. Up to now, I have finished 5 books. I'm determined to read at least 20 altogether by the end of the year, hopefully even more. I think 5 books gives you a really good idea if you're going to like a series or not, and I am loving them. I really am. But one of the most predominant aspects of the Discworld series is the humour, which is wonderful. It is right up my alley. It's very absurdist, slapstick at times, and hilarious. I love it. But I'm one of these people, and I'm sure I've said this before, who can't read a lot of that kind of humour continuously. I can read a few books, then I need a break. I'm definitely more drawn to serious books. And that is no reflection on the books themselves, that's just my taste in books. I'm reading the Discworld books based on publication date, chronologically. And the last one I finished was Sorcery. And out of the 5 that I've read so far, my favourites are The Colour of Magic, the very first book, and Mort. And I absolutely loved Granny. Oh my God, she just cracked me up so much, from Equal Rights. Yeah, she is hilarious. One thing I noticed though when I got to Equal Rights is the books don't always have the same cast of characters. You might run into a character from a previous book, but they usually have a completely different story. That took me a little bit of time to get used to as well. I'm used to reading continuous series with the same set of characters. You may meet some new ones, of course, but generally you see the same lot of characters throughout each book. That is not the case with the Discworld. Sometimes you can start a book and you don't know anyone, and you may not see anyone that you already know from a previous book. But yeah, Granny. Wow, so many things she does in this book just had me in stitches. Yeah, she is hilariously funny. Sorcery, I did not love as much. I'd say this one and The Light Fantastic, which is the second book and a sequel to the first book. Those 2 are my least favourites, I would say. I didn't enjoy them as much as the other 3. But even in such a short space of only 5 books, I have noticed an improvement in Pratchett's writing style. He seems more confident, more comfortable. The writing seems sharper, actually. It's obvious that Pratchett was a very intelligent, well-read man with a sharp, clever wit, and very imaginative man. His world is unique. I've never read anything like it. And I love how he will take, say, a cliche or trope and just twist it. Twist it in the most weird and bizarre way that you do not expect. You never know how it will end up because he's certainly not a predictable writer. Definitely not. And a talent for writing humour, I think. And there's a lot of very pointed comments he makes about the absurdity of human nature, about economics or politics or institutions that we have. I am loving that aspect of it. It's extremely clever, intelligent writing. And his puns are getting better and better, I think. His one-liners, I wish I could quote some, but I'm terrible at remembering them. But there were so many classic one-liners in Mort in particular that I was in stitches more often than not. His writing is very reminiscent to me of the best of English humour. Monty Python or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, just to name my favourites anyway. And if you like that kind of humour, I think you'll love his books. Now I wanted to talk about Mort in particular. I'm going to be reviewing the book. I've been wondering how to do it, whether I should mention any spoilers or not. If you don't want to know what happens in the book, then I suggest you skip to this part of the video. I'll also put a timestamp in the description box below where I summarize the book. Okay. It's not a very thick book, none of them are. They're fairly short and very quick, easy reads, I find. Honestly, I spent most of my time just laughing out loud. I was in stitches. I'd often have to take a break so I could catch my breath and continue reading. And I'm sure I missed certain lines because there are just so many very smart, very funny one-liners in this, as well as a lot of puns. Now, the story itself, the eponymous character Mort is a young boy, awkward, gangly, very literal, whose father doesn't know what to do with. His father, I think, was a farmer, and he's looking to apprentice Mort to some trade. And he ends up apprenticing Mort to death itself, which I thought was very funny actually. It obviously opened the door for us to learn more about this amazing character, Death. And I have to say, I just love that Death is an actual character in these books. We've met him previously, I think several times, and he was always so funny, unintentionally so most of the time, that I was really pleased to see him playing a major role in this book. Now, Mort, I believe, means death in French, so clearly that was deliberate on Pratchett's part. And Mort goes with Death to his home, because he has a home. Yeah, he may be all bones, but he does have a home. He also has an adopted daughter, Isabel, as well as a servant. I really liked that Death has his own life. He has this family. He has servants, a home. It was a very clever idea, actually. And of course, throughout the book, Mort is learning his trade as Death's apprentice, learning how the hourglasses that they use to know when somebody's time is up. Yeah, so many smart things in this book, so many clever ideas in this book. As Mort learns his trade, Death actually has a midlife crisis. Oh, wow, yeah, that just tickled my funny bone so much. And Death goes off to find himself, to learn why humans cling so fiercely to life and are so resistant to death. So he goes to try new things like learning to cook or to dance or to drink. Oh, well, yeah, all right. That was one of my favorite parts of the book. It was just so funny seeing how Death was experiencing things that we take for granted. And Mort, yeah, Mort is sent off to collect a soul, and that is a princess. But he decides he can't because, of course, typical cliche, Mort falls in love with the princess. And as a result, he almost collapses the entire world. Well, yeah. See, I thought this was a really pointed reference about the lengths, the extreme lengths that people go to avoid death, which is crazy because we can't. None of us can avoid death. We are all going to die one day. And I think that just illustrated how absurd it is to try to avoid that fate. We can't avoid it. This is peppered with so many amazingly funny characters. I loved Mort. I really did. He is goofy and funny and very literal and honestly just adorable. Isabel, the adopted daughter of Death. Wow, she annoyed me so much at the beginning, but she did grow on me. The princess herself, wow, yeah, typical of all princesses, or all the cliches about princesses. She was annoying. Yeah, I think so anyway. And then there is Cutwell, who is a sorcerer, a wizard. Oh, he was hilarious. Yeah, his role as the princess's advisor was hilarious. I think so anyway. And then there was the servant, his name I can't remember. Yeah, he was really funny as well. Despite the great humour in this book, and it was one of the funniest ones I've read so far, I think there was also a very profound meaning to it, and that is that Death isn't malicious, spiteful. He doesn't play favourites. He is basically doing his job. And it doesn't matter how much we squirm, how much we might beg or plead, we all are going to die at one time. And Death doesn't care who you are, what you've done in your life. When it's your time, he'll go and collect you. And I think it's important to remember that nobody's going to escape death. Nobody can buy their way out of it. It doesn't matter if you're a princess or a peasant. We're all going to die in the end. It's how we do it. Whether we go out with any semblance of dignity or try to collapse our world to avoid it. Yeah, that was definitely one of my favourite parts of the book. And of course, Death having this midlife crisis. Yeah, honestly, one of the funniest things I've read about in years, definitely. I'm not going to tell you how the book ends. What I will say, however, is that Pratchett is never predictable, which is another one of his great charms. You don't know what he's going to do with, say, a very familiar fantasy trope. This young, unknown boy falling in love with a princess. If you think it's going to end one way, it most likely will end the other way, which makes it so much more fun to read, because I just don't know where it's going to end up. I think there are several more books where death plays a major part. I'm hoping we'll also see Mort again. I'm not sure if we will, but I would definitely like to. I highly recommend Mort. If you like absurdist humour, slapstick humour, if you like some very pointed comments about human nature, I think you will really enjoy this book. I know I loved it. Yeah, I flew through it actually. As for a score, initially I was thinking of giving this 6 out of 10, but the more I've thought about this book, the more I really enjoyed it and the more I appreciate it. So I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. Pretty generous, right? For me, yeah, because I'm generally way too harsh on books. Let me know what you thought of my score. And if you've read more, let me know what your thoughts are on it. You know I would love to hear. And you can put it down in the comments or you can contact me on Instagram. Well, thank you all so very much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. And if you like this video, then you can do the usual. You can like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Bye. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, I was constantly having to take breaks. Mort, of course, means French. Mort, I believe, means French in... Wow, okay.